She didn't lose you when she left, you lose her when your silence stops knocking. Most men face the same loop. She pulls away, posts new life highlights, sends a stray late-night text, then goes cold again. You chase, explain, overthink, and your value drops each time. You tell yourself you're being caring, but really, you're being reactive. The more noise you make, the less she hears you. The quieter you are, the more she listens. This video is the reset. I'm going to show you what actually happens after a breakup or a pullback. The masks she wears, the quiet tests she runs, and why your attention, not your words, drives the entire story. You'll learn the Stoic response to each stage, when to say nothing, when to lead, and when to walk. No games, no bitterness, just discipline, presence, and self-respect. We'll break down the difference between indifference and composure, the real purpose of her "I'm fine," and why staged happiness online is designed for you, not strangers. You'll get simple scripts, timing cues, and daily practices that rebuild your frame while keeping the door open, if she chooses to return. If you've ever wanted to stop begging, stop spiraling, and start being the man she can't ignore, stay with me. Peace is your leverage. Silence is your strategy, and your purpose is the proof. Let's get into it, starting now. Number 1. When she pulls away, she's still watching. When a woman starts to pull away, most men panic. They overanalyze every word, every silence, every unread text. But here's the truth. When she pulls back, she's not gone, she's observing. She's watching how you react when she withdraws her attention. And your reaction in that moment defines whether attraction fades or grows. Let's take Greg, 58, from Austin. After 6 months of dating, a woman named Michelle, 54, things suddenly cooled off. She started replying slower, cancelled plans, and said she needed space. Greg did what most men do. He filled the silence. Long texts, late-night calls. "Are you okay? Did I do something wrong?" And each message pushed her further away. Why? Because his anxiety confirmed her doubts. Instead of standing grounded, he broadcasted need. You see, when a woman pulls back, it's rarely random. It's a test, not of your words, but of your center. She wants to see if your calm is conditional on her presence or if it's who you truly are. She doesn't consciously plot it that way, but emotionally, that's what's happening. Women feel safety in a man who doesn't collapse when she steps back. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's Stoicism in relationships. Her silence, her distance, her hesitation, those are outside events. Your frame, your composure, your direction, those are within your control. The moment you chase her to restore comfort, you give away your power. The moment you stay still, you remind her why she was drawn to you in the first place. Greg eventually learned that. After a week of no contact, he stopped checking her. Social media, stopped overthinking, and focused on himself, his training, his business, his purpose. 2 weeks later, Michelle texted, "Hey, haven't heard from you. Are you okay?" That wasn't coincidence. That was curiosity. When she saw his calm silence, she began to miss the man who didn't need her to validate him. Here's the paradox. Most men don't grasp a woman can't stop watching the man who's moved beyond her approval. She may not text, she may not like your posts, but she's there observing quietly, wondering if your world still spins without her. And when she sees it does, that's when attraction reignites, not because you ignored her, but because you stayed grounded. When she pulls away, your silence isn't punishment, it's posture. It says, "I'm not chasing peace. I am peace." That energy communicates everything words never could. So if you're in that moment right now, she's distant, uncertain, maybe even cold, don't react. Breathe. Let her feel your absence, not your anxiety. Focus on living in alignment with your values. When you stop trying to get her attention, you start commanding it. Women watch the men who move like mountains, still, solid, self-contained. They test to see if the mountain crumbles. yours won't. Write this in the comments to anchor it. I stay grounded in silence. And stick with me, because next we're diving into the real reason her coldness isn't rejection, it's a test of your frame. And once you understand that, you'll never chase validation again. Number 2. Her coldness is a test of your frame. When she turns cold, don't take it personally. Don't assume the warmth is gone forever or that she stopped caring. Her coldness isn't rejection, it's measurement. She's testing the temperature of your frame. She wants to know, is your composure real, or does it melt the moment she stops feeding it? Most men collapse under this kind of tension. They interpret distance as danger and rush to fix it, calling, apologizing, over-explaining, or trying to make her feel something again. But the truth is that very reaction destroys the attraction she was testing for. Because the moment you start chasing her warmth, you show her that your frame depends on her approval. And a frame that depends on approval is no frame at all. The Stoics understood this dynamic long before modern psychology. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When she pulls back, what's happening isn't the problem. It's your reaction that defines whether you rise or fall. She's not pushing you away to hurt you. She's trying to feel your steadiness. Her coldness serves a purpose. It's the emotional equivalent of distance training. She's not looking for a man who mirrors her emotions. She's looking for a man who can contain them. When she gets quiet, withdrawn, or unpredictable, she's checking whether your peace depends on her attention. If it does, she'll lose respect. If it doesn't, she'll relax. You have to understand something about polarity. Feminine energy flows, tests, moves. Masculine energy anchors, observes, decides. Her fluctuation is not a threat, it's the rhythm of nature. When you respond to her emotional weather with neutrality instead of fear, she starts to trust your strength. She stops needing to test you because your calm answers every question she hasn't asked yet. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved and the raging of the sea falls still around it." That's your role when she turns cold. She's the wave, you're the rock. You don't fight the water, you don't chase it when it pulls back. You simply remain steady until the storm tires itself out. The power of your frame is not proven when things are easy. It's revealed when everything feels uncertain, when she's cold, distant, or even angry. That's the moment most men lose themselves trying to regain her warmth. But if you stay grounded, if you remain calm in the silence, her coldness will eventually expose itself for what it really is: curiosity. She'll wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why does he still seem so composed? That curiosity becomes attraction. This is where the Stoic principle of apatheia, calm indifference to what's outside your control, becomes your weapon. You're not cold. You're centered. You're not detached. You're disciplined. The difference is everything. When you hold your frame through her frost, you don't just pass a test, you redefine the relationship. You show her that her emotions don't shake your foundation. And that, to a woman, is the ultimate safety. Write this in the comments to anchor it: I stay solid under pressure. Stay tuned, because next we'll break down why your silence, not your persuasion, is what actually makes her listen again. And once you understand how to use silence properly, everything changes. Number 3. Silence speaks louder than begging. When she starts pulling away, your instinct is to speak, to explain, to fix. You want her to understand what you meant, how much you care, or why she's wrong about you. But here's the truth. Most men never grasp every word you say. In desperation lowers your value. Because in those moments, silence says more than 1,000 explanations ever could. Let's talk about Alan, 55, from Seattle. After a 2-year relationship, his girlfriend Rachel, 52, told him she needed space. Alan panicked. He texted her long paragraphs about how he could change, how he just wanted to talk things through. No reply. A few days later, he sent flowers. Still nothing. He kept trying text after text until one night he saw she'd blocked him. A week later, Alan did something different. He stopped reaching out. He deleted her number. He returned to his gym routine, spent time fishing with old friends, and focused on his business again. 2 weeks of silence. Then one morning he got an email from Rachel. "I miss talking to you. You've been so quiet. How are you?" That silence. It wasn't punishment. It was presence. It reminded her of the man she'd first been drawn to, the one who didn't need her to validate him. Silence, when grounded in strength, creates space for her to feel the loss. Begging suffocates. Silence breathes. See, when you chase a woman's attention after she's withdrawn, you reinforce her decision to pull away. You confirm that she's in control of your emotional state. But when you stop talking, when you stop explaining, when you allow the space to expand, she begins to feel your absence. She wonders, did he move on? Did he stop caring? And that curiosity draws her back stronger than any argument ever could. Marcus Aurelius said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." That's what silence is: a calm mind in action. It's the refusal to let panic dictate your words. It's the confidence to let reality unfold without forcing it. Silence isn't ignoring her, it's respecting yourself. It's saying, "I've spoken enough. My energy will do the talking now." When your silence is steady, not bitter, not passive-aggressive, but peaceful, it creates contrast. Because most men beg, chase, and argue. But the man who goes quiet stands out like a mountain in the noise. And this isn't just about relationships. Silence is a universal sign of power. Think about leaders, mentors, men you respect. They don't fill every gap with words. They let pauses speak. They let stillness create gravity. That same principle applies here. When Rachel reached out, Alan didn't rush to reply. He waited a day. Then he answered calmly, "I've been good, focusing on things that matter." No accusation, no emotion, just composure. Within days, she was the one initiating again. Why? Because she felt his silence, and it reminded her of his strength. The lesson is simple. Stop trying to talk your way back into her heart. Stay quiet, not because you're playing games, but because peace is your power. Write this in the comments to anchor it. My silence has strength. Don't go anywhere, because next we'll uncover one of the biggest illusions after she pulls away the appearance of moving on. And once you understand that act, you'll stop falling for it forever. Number 4. The illusion of moving on. When she starts posting pictures with friends, smiling wider than usual, maybe even hinting that someone new is in her life, your heart sinks. You tell yourself, she's moved on. But here's the thing, what looks like moving on is often just the performance of it. Most people don't move on that fast. They distract themselves from what they don't want to feel. And women, especially, are experts at disguising pain with activity. What you're seeing isn't healing, it's a defense mechanism. When she pulls away the silence, you've created echoes in her mind. Instead of facing that discomfort, she fills it with noise, with people, with validation. The photos, the smiles, the sudden new energy, those are not signs of peace, they're signs of avoidance. And if you break your composure at that moment, if you react to the illusion, you give her exactly what she wants, proof that she still controls your emotions. The Stoics had a phrase for this kind of deception: phantasia cataleptique, the misleading impression. Epictetus taught that we must examine our impressions carefully, because not everything that appears true is real. When you see her pretending to move on, understand that this is just an impression, not reality. She's not over you, she's testing whether you're over her. Your power lies in not reacting. The illusion of her moving on only has power if you believe it. A Stoic man doesn't chase clarity from chaos. He watches, he interprets, and he chooses calm. When you see her new behavior, tell yourself, this too is outside my control. because the truth is her actions are often a mirror of your restraint. The calmer you stay, the more her facade begins to crumble. Here's what happens beneath the surface. While she's showing the world how happy she is, she's secretly measuring whether you're still watching. When you don't take the bait, when you don't comment, don't stalk, don't reach out, it unsettles her. The illusion works only when you react. When you don't, she starts to question her own narrative. Did he move on? Does he not care? Was I wrong about him? Those questions become the seed of obsession. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it." Her posts, her silence, her new life, they are all external things. Your peace is broken not by what she does, but by how you interpret it. When you stop believing her act, you stop being part of her performance. That's where true strength lies, not in proving your indifference, but in embodying it. Your silence, your stillness, your refusal to react, these become the mirror that exposes her illusion. And here's something important. When you master this level of restraint, you're no longer playing her game. You're living by your philosophy. You're moving differently, thinking differently. You become the kind of man women remember, long after the illusion fades. If you want to go even deeper into this, how to embody stoic calm in modern relationships, how to control your emotions under pressure, and how to rebuild your masculine frame, consider joining the Stoic Brotherhood. As a member, you'll get access to private videos, deeper discussions, and practical frameworks to apply this mindset daily. Write this in the comments to anchor it. I don't react to illusions. Stay tuned, because next we'll talk about why her emotions don't mean she's right, and how your calm is what truly shifts the dynamic between you. Number 5. Guilt is here hidden strategy. Let's be honest, few emotions are as powerful as guilt. And when it comes to relationships, women often use it unconsciously as a way to regain emotional control. Not because they're manipulative, but because guilt is one of the fastest ways to make a man feel responsible for their pain. Take Michael, 57, from Colorado. After ending a long-term relationship with his girlfriend Susan, 55, he tried to stay respectful and distant. But soon after, Susan began sending small emotional hooks. "I can't believe you gave up on us so easily. I hope you're happy while I'm over here hurting. I guess I never meant that much to you." Michael felt torn. He hadn't done anything cruel, yet her words made him second-guess himself. He felt compelled to respond, to explain, to comfort her. And that's when he fell into the trap, because guilt isn't about facts, it's about control. The moment you accept guilt that isn't yours, you surrender your frame. See, guilt makes you question your own strength. It pulls you out of the present and drags you into emotional debt for something you didn't actually do wrong. Women often trigger this instinct not from malice but from fear. When they sense they're losing emotional influence, they reach for the one emotion they know hits hardest in men: responsibility. They want to feel that their pain still matters to you, but here's where most men lose balance. They confuse compassion with compliance. They believe that being understanding means giving in. But true masculine composure isn't about fixing her feelings, it's about standing grounded while acknowledging them. You can say, "I understand you're hurting," without apologizing for doing what was necessary. You can care without caving. The Stoics taught that emotion is not the enemy, attachment to emotion is. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Guilt is the perfect example of that. You imagine you've done wrong simply because someone else feels hurt. But her pain doesn't automatically mean your fault. Her emotions belong to her, not you. When you respond to guilt with calm detachment, you break the cycle. Instead of defending yourself, you observe. You let her words pass through without absorbing them. Because the truth is, her guilt tripping isn't meant to destroy you, it's meant to provoke you into proving that you still care. When you don't react, you show a deeper kind of care, the kind rooted in stability, not submission. Eventually, the guilt runs out of power. When she realizes her words no longer move you, something shifts. Respect replaces resentment, because despite her emotions deep down, she admires the man who can stand firm in the storm. Michael learned this the hard way. The next time Susan reached out, he didn't argue or defend himself. He replied, "I wish you peace." That was it. No guilt, no explanation. She didn't reply for weeks, but when she finally did, it wasn't with accusation, it was with curiosity. Because his stillness reminded her that her emotions no longer dictated his direction. Guilt only controls you if you let it. The key is to stay centered, stay still, and refuse to carry what isn't yours. Write this in the comments to anchor it. I don't carry false guilt. Let's keep going, because next we'll uncover how her emotions can actually become your leverage if you understand how to lead through them instead of reacting to them. Number 6. Jealousy means you still have power. When a woman tries to make you jealous, it's rarely random. It's deliberate, an emotional chess move. She's watching your reaction closely, not because she's cruel, but because jealousy reveals something deeper than attraction. It reveals influence. If she can still make you react, she still has power. But here's the part most men miss. Jealousy is also a signal that you have power too. Because if she's trying to provoke you, it means she still cares about your attention. When she flirts a little too obviously, talks about another man, or posts something that feels aimed directly at you, the goal isn't to replace you, it's to test you. She's measuring your control. Do you crumble under emotional pressure, or do you remain calm, collected, and grounded? This is where Stoicism becomes your greatest advantage. The Stoics understood that emotion itself is neutral. It's your interpretation that gives it meaning. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." That truth applies perfectly here. Her attempt to trigger jealousy is powerless until you decide it matters. When you refuse to be moved, her weapon loses its edge. You see, jealousy is a mirror. It shows both of you who's actually in control. When you react, arguing, questioning, or trying to win her back, you hand her emotional authority. You tell her without words that she still owns space in your mind. But when you remain unshaken, when you meet her attempt with calm curiosity or even quiet amusement, you remind her of what attracted her in the first place, your composure. Here's the paradox. Women create jealousy to test strength, but they only respect the man who doesn't play the game. It's not about ignoring her. It's about maintaining your frame so deeply that her attempts to provoke you feel irrelevant. You respond with action, not reaction, with presence, not panic. From a Stoic perspective, this is mastery of apathy, a calm detachment in the face of emotional storms. You don't repress your emotions, you rule them. You acknowledge the flicker of jealousy without letting it dictate your behavior. You say to yourself, "I see what this is. I won't let it move me." That's not arrogance, it's discipline. Over time, she feels that difference. The energy shifts. She starts realizing that her attempts to stir you no longer land. That realization flips the dynamic. Instead of testing your strength, she starts chasing your attention again. Because your emotional restraint creates polarity, the more control you have, the more drawn she feels. Understand this, her jealousy games are not attacks, they're signals. A woman who's truly done with you doesn't bother to provoke emotion, she goes silent. But when she still tries to make you react, she's saying, "I still need to feel something from you." And ironically, the less you give her, the more powerful your presence becomes. So when you feel jealousy, rise, breathe. Don't fight it, observe it. Let it pass through like a wave. Because when you remain unmoved, you show her and yourself that you're operating from a higher level of discipline. That's what separates a man of emotion from a man of mastery. Write this in the comments to anchor it. I stay calm under fire. Stay with me, because next we'll uncover how emotional control doesn't just protect your peace, it draws her closer than any words ever could. Number 7. When regret creeps in, stay silent. Every man who's walked away from a woman he once cared about knows that moment, the quiet hours when doubt starts whispering. You think about what you could have said, what you should have done differently, whether you were too cold, too firm, too detached. And that's when regret creeps in. It doesn't come crashing through the door. It slips in quietly, disguised as compassion. But here's the truth, that moment of regret is not a sign that you made the wrong choice. It's a test of whether you can trust your own discipline. Let me tell you about David, 56, from Phoenix. After ending a long, emotionally draining relationship with Lisa, 53, he spent weeks in silence, no texts, no calls, nothing. He felt strong at first. Then one night, after a few drinks, he started scrolling through old photos. Her laugh, their trips, her messages from better days. The wave hit hard. That familiar ache, the mix of missing her and wanting to fix things. His finger hovered over the send message button, but he didn't press it. Instead, he closed the phone, took a breath and went for a midnight walk. That walk was a defining moment, because silence when regret appears is strength disguised as stillness. Most men break in that moment. They reach out not because they truly want to reconcile, but because they want relief from discomfort. Regret isn't about her. It's about your inability to sit with your own emotions without trying to escape them. Here's what you have to understand. Women feel your regret even when you hide it. When you reach out impulsively, especially after she's pulled back, it tells her that her absence still defines your peace. But when you hold the silence, when you stay composed, even when your emotions scream for release, something shifts. You regain authority over yourself, and that's what truly pulls her back. David didn't reach out. A month later, Lisa texted first. She wrote, "I've been thinking about you. It's weird you haven't said anything." That's the paradox. Your silence becomes the loudest message you can send. Because when you don't react, you communicate certainty. You say without words, "I've accepted what is, and I'm at peace with it." That kind of peace is magnetic. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Regret tempts you to do and say things that aren't true, things that come from weakness, not wisdom. The Stoic approach is simple: observe the feeling but do not obey it. Let regret rise, let it move through you, and then let it go. That silence you hold isn't emotional suppression, it's mastery. Remember, silence is not about ignoring emotion, it's about not letting emotion make your decisions. When you stay quiet during regret, you're not pretending to be strong, you are strong. You're proving that your emotions no longer command your actions. Eventually, regret fades. But if you break your silence too soon, you restart the cycle, you validate her power, and you weaken yours. So when regret starts whispering, don't reach for your phone, don't replay old conversations. Just breathe, stay still, and remember, silence is your teacher. Write this in the comments to anchor it. I master emotion with silence. And don't go anywhere, because next we're going to uncover why her return isn't always what it seems, and how a Stoic man handles the moment she finally reaches out. Number 8. Detachment is your greatest weapon. Most men hear the word detachment and think it means not caring. But that's not detachment, it's avoidance. Real detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the ability to stand calm in the middle of chaos, to see emotion without being controlled by it. And when it comes to relationships, this one principle, true detachment, is what separates a man who gets lost in her storms from the man who commands her respect. You see, emotional attachment makes you reactive. It ties your peace to her approval, her texts, her moods, her presence. When she withdraws or acts unpredictably, you spiral. But when you develop detachment, you stop reacting to her behavior and start observing it. You stop chasing, stop trying to convince, stop trying to control outcomes, and that's when she feels your strength the most. because nothing is more attractive to a woman than a man who doesn't need her to stay grounded. The Stoics built their philosophy on this idea. Epictetus said, "When something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it." That's detachment in one sentence. You can't control her choices, you can't control her emotions, but you can control your response. Detachment doesn't mean you stop feeling, it means you stop fearing your feelings. You can care deeply about a woman while staying unshaken by her storms. That's the balance most men never reach. The reason detachment is so powerful is simple. It exposes the truth. When you stop trying to manipulate, fix, or win her over, her behavior reveals itself. You see who she really is, not who you hoped she'd be. And that clarity is freedom. Without detachment, you mistake emotional chaos for passion. You think the highs and lows mean love when really it's dependency. Detachment lets you love without losing yourself. This is what emotional mastery looks like. When she pulls away, you don't chase. When she tests your patience, you don't argue. When she goes silent, you don't panic. You observe. You respond, not react. You stay calm, not because you're numb, but because you've accepted reality. That's what the Stoics called amor fati, love of fate. Loving whatever happens, not because you wanted it, but because you choose to meet it with strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." Notice the balance. Love them with all your heart, but don't let them own it. Detachment allows that kind of love, one rooted in choice, not desperation. When you embody detachment, you become untouchable, not because you're unreachable, but because your peace is self-sustained. Women feel that. They sense it in your energy, in your silence, in the way you move. The less you chase, the more they gravitate toward you. Because detachment is confidence, it's emotional independence. It's what makes you rare in a world full of men who crumble under emotion. Remember this, a woman can love you deeply, but she'll only respect you if you remain whole without her. So the next time she tries to pull you into drama, stay still. When she tries to test your patience, breathe. You don't have to match her energy. You just have to stay grounded in yours. Write this in the comments to anchor it. My peace is my power. Stay tuned, because next we'll explore what happens when she finally comes back and how to handle that moment like a stoic, not a fool. Number 9. Rebuild yourself, don't chase the ghost. Every man who's gone through a breakup knows the feeling. You replay her laugh, her scent, the way she looked at you before things changed. You tell yourself she was different. That maybe, just maybe, if you'd done one thing differently, she'd still be here. But here's the truth, most men refuse to face. You're not missing her. You're missing the version of yourself that existed when she loved you. That's the ghost you're chasing, and it's the one thing keeping you from becoming stronger. Let's talk about Robert, 58, from Chicago. After his girlfriend Anna, 54, ended things, he spent months in limbo. He'd check her social media every night, scroll through old pictures, and wonder if she was seeing someone new. He told himself he wasn't chasing her, but every thought, every click, every sleepless night said otherwise. One day his friend asked, "When's the last time you did something for yourself? Not for her, not for the idea of her, but for you." That question hit hard. Robert realized he'd built his identity around being the man she wanted, not the man he actually was. He'd stopped working on himself the moment he started obsessing over her. And that's what so many men do. They lose their fire trying to resurrect something that's already gone cold. The harsh truth, you can't chase the ghost of a woman and rebuild yourself at the same time. One keeps you trapped in the past. The other demands that you move forward. When you fixate on who she was or what you lost, you freeze your own evolution. But when you turn that same energy inward, when you redirect it into your body, your craft, your purpose, you begin to rise again. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Seneca wrote, It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. And that's exactly what regret and obsession do. They waste your time, your power, your life. The woman who left was a chapter, not your entire story. You can reread that chapter as many times as you want, but it won't change the ending. The only way forward is through growth, not nostalgia. When Robert finally stopped checking on Anna, something strange happened. He started sleeping better. He joined a boxing class. He reconnected with old friends. Slowly, his confidence returned. And about 3 months later, Anna texted him, "You seem different lately." Of course he did, because he stopped chasing her energy and started generating his own. That's what rebuilding looks like, not revenge, not bitterness, but becoming the kind of man who no longer needs closure. You see, the ghost of her isn't just a memory, it's a reflection of your attachment. The more you chase it, the more you lose your grip on the present. But when you face forward, when you focus on becoming a stronger, calmer, more grounded man, something profound happens. You stop missing her, and she starts remembering you. Here's the paradox: when you stop chasing the ghost, she starts haunting herself. Because your silence, your peace, your growth, they remind her of what she lost. But by then, you've already outgrown the version of yourself that needed her approval. So if you're still looking back tonight, stop. Turn your focus inward. Rebuild your mind, your health, your mission. The man who rebuilds himself never loses, because he's not fighting to get her back. He's fighting to find himself again. Write this in the comments to anchor it: I rebuild, not chase. And don't go anywhere, because next we'll talk about what happens when she finally reappears and how to meet that moment with the strength and calm of a true Stoic man. Number 10. Peace is the final attraction. At the end of it all, after the distance, the silence, the tests, the emotions, there's one thing that draws her back stronger than anything else: your peace. Not your words, not your looks, not your success, your peace. The calm, grounded energy of a man who no longer needs to prove, chase, or explain himself. That's the energy women can't walk away from, because it's the one thing so few men ever find. When a woman feels your peace, she feels something ancient in you. It's the quiet assurance of a man who's seen chaos and didn't let it change his nature. She may not be able to name it, but she feels it: the safety, the mystery, the self-control. It's not dominance, it's presence. It's the same kind of stillness Marcus Aurelius described when he wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's the kind of calm she's drawn to, even if she once walked away from it. The truth is, peace is rare. Most men live reactive lives, texting out of fear, overthinking, out of doubt, chasing validation they'll never fully receive. They move through relationships like storms, constantly trying to control what's beyond their grasp. But the Stoic man, he understands that control begins and ends with himself. He doesn't suppress emotion, he simply refuses to be ruled by it. When you reach this level of peace, you stop trying to win her back. You stop measuring your worth through her response. You stop needing closure, because you realize peace itself is the closure. You've already won the moment you no longer need her to see your value. Imagine this. She reaches out one day, maybe months later. Her message is soft, cautious, something like, "Hey, how have you been?" In the past, that text would have hit like lightning. You would have felt the pull, the rush, the urge to engage, to reopen the door. But now your energy is different. You're grounded. You read it, smile, and maybe reply when it feels right, or maybe not at all. Because your peace isn't a strategy. It's who you've become. That's the paradox. The less you seek validation, the more attractive you become. The man who needs nothing holds the most power. Women sense it instantly, the same way they sense weakness. Peace is magnetic because it communicates one simple message: I'm whole without you. And ironically, that's the energy that makes them want to return. The Stoics never chased peace through others, they created it within. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't walking away from her, it's walking back to yourself. When you stop letting her moods, her silence or her approval control you, you become untouchable. Not cold, not distant, but steady, radiant calm. And here's what most men don't realize. Peace doesn't just attract women. It transforms you. It sharpens your focus, deepens your relationships, and restores your purpose. You stop reacting and start leading. You stop surviving and start living. Peace is the final attraction because it's the ultimate display of strength. It tells her and the world that you've mastered the hardest battle. There is the one within. So don't chase love, approval, or closure. Chase peace, because once you have it, everything and everyone falls into place. Write this in the comments to anchor it. My peace is my power. What you've just learned isn't about tricks, manipulation, or trying to control anyone. It's about mastering yourself. Every moment of distance, every test, every emotion she throws your way is an opportunity to become stronger, calmer, more centered. This entire video has been about that transformation, the journey from reaction to control, from chaos to clarity, from pain to peace. When you understand her psychology through a Stoic lens, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop doubting. You start leading, not with force, but with presence. You begin to realize that real strength isn't about having power over someone, it's about having power within yourself. That's the man women respect. That's the man they can't forget. And most importantly, that's the man who can move through life, relationships, challenges, and silence with complete composure. If you're ready to go deeper into this mindset to learn how to embody Stoic masculinity, emotional control, and unshakable confidence in every part of your life, join the Stoic Brotherhood. Inside, we break down these principles even further, with exclusive lessons, mindset training, and private discussions you won't find anywhere else. And if you found value in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is just the beginning. There's more coming every day to help you master the art of calm strength. Thank you for watching, my friend. Stay grounded, stay powerful, and I'll see you tomorrow.